Alright guys, today's video is going to be an exciting one. I'm going to the Jericho Writers Festival and I'm just approaching. You can see that we have to cross through, I think, Regent's Park to get there, which is a lovely place. So what am I expecting to happen today? Honestly, I've got no idea. I've not really been to a writing festival like this before. I'm hoping to meet some new people. I'm hoping to learn a bit more about the publication process, traditional versus self-publishing, learn a bit of about writing, so ways to improve your dialogue, ways to improve your pitch so that you can publish your book when you send it out to agents, general things like that. And in the evening, I think that all the writers are going out. One exciting thing that I've got planned is that I've got an agent one-to-one with two agents where they're going to critique the first two chapters of my books. They're going to critique my synopsis and they're going to critique my cover letter. So I'm very interested to see what happens there. When I arrived, they had a tea and coffee reception with loads of pastries. I must have had so many of them over the course of the 2 days. We then moved into a hall where someone led the keynote speech, and it was actually quite nice. It was just an introduction to the day, and they spoke a little bit about writing, some tips and tricks. So it was slow paced, but it just got us into that mindset. I'm just about to start the first course, which is how to self-edit your novel. As you can see, I was sitting very close to the front. I have no idea why you'd pay money to go to this course and then sit all the way at the very back. I've had to leave the first lecture because I need to attend my agent one-to-one. I'll update you properly about what happened, but I will say it was so interesting. I really didn't want to leave my agent one-to-one because she was so engaging and it was quite practical as well. So we got to have a go at some writing. Yeah, I'll explain better later. So I've just had the agent one-to-one and I can say that it went really well. I wish it was longer than 10 minutes because I felt like there was just so much left to talk about. The person was lovely, very friendly, and she really liked it. She said actually out of all of the ones she's had today, it was the first one where when she heard the title, she knew exactly what was in it, knew what happened and what she wanted to say, which was obviously promising. So after a lunch break where I chatted with my new friends, I was into a psychology lecture. This is always so interesting. So it was about the psychology of characters. So next was the event we were all waiting for, which was a Saturday Night Live. It's basically a writing competition, and the finalists get to read out their entries, and we essentially judge who the winner is. You can see on the next video that my entry was actually longlisted, so it was in the top 16% of entries. This made me extremely happy and was one of the highlights of my experience. Afterwards, the festival had booked out a pub where we got free drinks and had our dinners, and I ended up staying there till about 11 o'clock actually, with my new friends, which you can see on the next slide. So I'm now here at the second day of the Jericho Writers Festival. I've just actually done my first talk about speech and dialogue. And this is always a topic that I think is fascinating because, as I say, the characters are what bring a book to life. The plot comes second. So being able to be great with your dialect and your speech almost guarantees that you're going to have a good novel because you're going to have great characters that bring your story to life. So right now I'm actually about to go into my next agent one-to-one, where they'll be having a look at my first synopsis, my first cover letter, and first two chapters of my very first book. So I did my second book yesterday. So stay tuned and I'll let you know how it goes. So I just had my agent one-to-one for my first book, A Tale of Ash and Ruin, and she really loved it. She said this was her 15th read of the day when she was going through the submissions. And when she saw mine, she got out of her reading slump and she was excited and she really wanted to know what happened and she loved the characters, she was laughing. So that's obviously an amazing response. When I asked if I could change my first two chapters, I always thought chapter 2 was a bit weak. She was like, no, don't change it. It's great. So obviously that's the best thing you could hear. The only suggestion she had was just to put my elevator pitch in the first paragraph of my cover letter and to take out one or two things from the cover letter. So I have a couple of different tweaks that I can make to my thing. But the best part is, the cherry on the cake, is that she says that I can send her my whole story and she'll read it and then she'll get back to me whether she wants to represent me or not. I forgot to grab my lunch. I'm going to move on to the next part. I'm going to be honest, I wasn't paying very much attention in this lecture purely because I was too excited by the last news, so I'm not really sure what happened. The next lecture was actually so brilliantly done, and I got to learn about different softwares used with editing. I got to learn the best parts of the editing process, how to do it properly and effectively, and there's just too much information to describe in this video, so I'm going to make a new video talking about this. Finally, I went and said goodbye to my friends, then took this epic picture. Thank you for listening to this journey. It was so incredible and I learned so much. Stay tuned for more videos and more content.